And I hope you're having a great day so far. Very happy to have you here. This is Fireside Chat. My name is Sue Hanley, and I'm thrilled to have a very special guest today. His name is Jeffrey Taylor. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Hello.
Jeffrey is a very seasoned professional. He's been talking about college funding advising and doing many seminars with Better Business Bureau, the Detroit Free Press, Southfield Schools, the state of Michigan. The list goes on. And so I just want to welcome you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
So, how did you find this very interesting path?
I wasn't looking for it. It found me, and I was pulled into it and dragged into it, for lack of a better term. Um, I used to be a investment advisor over 20 years ago,
Wow.
and so when 2000 happened, there was a major market crash. In 2001, there was an additional crash. So by 2002, a lot of people lost about half of their money, and I was right in the middle of it.
My goodness.
And it was interesting because
Yes.
it showed me that was my first market crash while being in this business that I'm seeing
Oh,
actually
God.
interviewing people and I'm seeing how it's impacting people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that was very interesting to me
Mm-hmm.
is if we were to put in order of importance in terms of how people's lives were impacted,
Mm-hmm.
uh, people were telling me that they were more concerned about how they were going to pay for their children's college, first, and then
Wow.
retirement, second. And I said, wow. And so I went to one of my mentors and I said, my clients, I'm hearing this over and over and over again
Right.
as I conduct these seminars,
Mm-hmm.
that parents are concerned about paying for college. And he said, you need to go to college planning school. And so through a series of events, ended up started taking classes through the National Institute of Certified College Planners.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what started it from there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very interesting experience because they were very contrarian to traditional ideas.
That's interesting.
Yes,
Got your attention,
yes,
right?
yes, it did. It did. It did. Because what they taught was problem solving
Mm-hmm.
and not searching for money, which is what most parents and most groups and organizations emphasize,
Right.
searching for money.
Right.
And that idea or that mindset is really part of the problem and the reason why we are trillions of dollars in debt
Wow.
as a nation. It's because we're looking for money and it doesn't work that way.
No, that's so interesting. So you were able to kind of craft a strategy around that
Hmm.
so that you could present it to people and make it like, what's the word? Like, um, easy to understand, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good way to put that because the way that I was taught
Mm-hmm.
college funding, again, it's from a problem solving perspective
Mm.
by utilizing practical strategies.
Wow.
So, for example, I often tell people that if we look at how a credit card is used,
Right.
if we duplicate that process, we can not only fund education, regardless if we're talking about private K through 12 and college, not only can we fund education, but we can actually make a profit from it
Wow.
by following the same strategy that the banks use for credit cards.
Oh my
So we're
goodness.
already engaging in an arbitrage, if you will.
Yes.
It's just that we're on the wrong side of it because we're paying out profit rather than creating or recapturing
Right.
profit from
Right.
our expenses. Isn't that interesting?
Because people don't really think like that.
Exactly, exactly. So college planning school was a very interesting experience. It changed my mind about a lot of different things,
Wow.
and I have helped families in the hundreds of millions of dollars because I've helped a lot of people.
Wow.
And our emphasis is not scholarship attainment. No, it is identifying the mistakes that you're making and
Mm-hmm.
reversing those mistakes. That is the real problem solving factor that parents need to be looking at.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love how you think. And then you could also apply that to debt, perhaps.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I tell people all the time, debt is not the problem.
What's the problem?
Wow. See, you all want me to pull out my super secrets. Debt is not the problem.
That's not the problem.
Again, let's look at the bank. The bank is the teacher,
Yes,
but we have to listen. We have to listen and pay attention to what the bank does.
that's
The
right.
bank takes an expense,
Mm-hmm.
be it a mortgage, financing a car,
Right.
paying for education. It takes an expense,
Mm-hmm.
meets the need for that expense,
Right.
and then creates a profit from it. That's what the bank does.
Wow.
So again, I say to parents, why are we not doing the same thing?
Absolutely.
So that is not the problem. It's just that we don't understand how arbitrage works,
True.
and we see it from a one-dimensional perspective, what I call earn, save, and deplete.
Okay.
Earn, save, and deplete. In other words, we earn the money to pay for education. That money is gone.
Yes.
We save for education. Again, we deplete that account,
Yes.
and the money is gone. That's not how the bank thinks. The bank thinks in terms of funding that expense and then literally recycling that money and recapturing that money while meeting the expense or the cost of that
The
expense,
need. Right.
which is a much different way of thinking about college funding. But it is not only the solution to the problem,
Mm-hmm.
but when we understand how banks operate and how they use arbitrage,
Right.
we can solve multiple financial challenges with the same budget.
The same thinking, the same
hmm
model, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's legal.
The banks are doing it every day. So
Wow.
I don't know if that's a good reference point there, but the banks are doing it every day. And
Wow.
again, we're participating in these processes: a mortgage, a credit card,
Every day.
a line of credit, a HELOC.
Right.
We're participating in these processes. Those are processes. Those are systems. It's not just debt. No, it's a system where the bank creates massive profit. If we follow the same system, we can do the exact same thing.
Wow.
Fund an expense and create profit from it. And that is how you fund an education.
Wow.
Okay, we're done. We can go
Okay,
home now. We
that's
can-
awesome. I learned a lot. So if we look at the first slide then perhaps?
Yes, let's take a look at the first slide. So we're talking about the importance of the $1 Million College Strategy for Parents.
Mm-hmm.
And this was actually a title that came from interviewing parents as they come to my seminars. And of course, I get referrals and things of that nature. And I kept hearing the same story line. So I'm going to use this one particular family.
Yes, please.
It was a superintendent of schools and a principal, husband and wife.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a call. Hey, I need you to come and see a friend of mine. They need to talk to you. I said, okay. So I'm going to, and so we're doing the little initial conversation, getting to know each other, and they're sharing their story about their children.
Right.
How that they're adults now, they're doing well in their careers, and they have grandchildren.
Oh my, that's lovely.
And all of the things that go with people sharing their family pride stories.
Completely.
And then the story changed. I said, because I'm thinking to myself, well, where's the problem?
Right.
Right? They're talking about their grandchildren and all of this, and they said, well, we pay for education out of pocket because we could afford to,
Yes.
which is what a lot of parents do, right?
Right.
They just pay for education. And they were beginning to share how that now, as they take a closer look at retirement,
Yes.
they realize that the way that they paid for education is having a negative impact on their capacity to retire comfortably.
How many of us are going to have that problem? That's going to be a really common problem, right?
If we were to look at consequences of a lack of knowledge or a lack of perspective,
Wow.
or falling into this trap of looking for money or looking for scholarships to solve the problem.
Uh-huh.
Parents are being blindsided, and they are putting their retirement at risk. And because it's so far off, right? And we'll get into the slide here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's so far off. We think, oh, we'll deal with that later. And as this couple began to share with me, the time flew by so fast. And
Wow.
we're just saying,
It
yeah,
does.
they were just saying, hey, we're still trying to figure out how did we, where did the time go?
Yes.
And so as they were sharing their story with me, I began to I understood what they were coming from because I've heard that story hundreds of times.
That's really sad because they're doing well. They're at the top of their game. They did all the right things, and they're still looking, saying, how could we have done this better?
Exactly. But they're asking 10, 15, 20 years after
Yeah, exactly.
college is over.
Exactly.
And that's when, unfortunately, that's when parents begin to feel the pain of paying for college.
Yes.
And even if they have a situation where the student is now paying, it's the same story, because now the student is bankrupt because they're trying to pay for something that they were
Absolutely.
not prepared to pay for.
Absolutely.
And again, now I'm gonna throw this back in again because we don't understand arbitrage.
Right.
We don't understand the ideal of recycling recapture. We're just paying for things, and we're depleting our assets and our cash flow,
Yes.
and it's ruining our present and our future, and we just don't see what's going on.
I don't know if any of us knew that there was another way of doing it, right?
Yeah, it's not common knowledge, that's for sure. It's not
Yeah.
common knowledge.
Should we go to the next slide?
Yeah. So, and so my talking points here were one of the biggest things parents are doing is overpaying for college.
Okay. None of us
Okay.
want to do that.
Yeah, overpaying for college.
Wow.
And that's a series of classes all to itself. But parents are, because they don't understand the connection between the FAFSA application
Mm-hmm.
and the engagement that the parent, not the student. I know parents, we're looking for our children to figure it out on their own. I can promise you this is not something that you want to experiment with because the mistakes are so expensive.
Wow.
So when
Yes, they are.
when we're looking for our kid to figure it out, it's just not a smart way to handle that.
Completely agree.
And as a result, mistakes are being made.
Right.
Mistakes are being made when the award letter is received, because there's no, or let me not say there isn't, there is no, but if we don't understand what the award letter means and what our options are, again, it leads to overpaying for college. And then we do that for 4 years because we have to complete the financial aid paperwork every year during the time that the student's in college, assuming that's going to be 4 years.
Right.
So you've got 4 years of mistakes being made, and if you don't have someone in your life who's an expert
Right.
that knows how to identify strategy opportunities that you're sitting on, how do you know? Because when you get the
wouldn't know.
FAFSA, it doesn't give you an analysis saying, okay, well, here are the 7 opportunities that we see. No, that's not the role of the FAFSA. It's not the government's role. And then what I hear from parents over and over again when they attend the financial aid workshop or the parent night for the school that they want to attend, the school often says, listen, we can't give you college funding advice. And I
So where
said,
do they get it from?
wow.
No one's helping them.
Right. So parents. So okay. So I don't want to throw the high school counselor under the bus.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that the high school counselor has a different role today than they had maybe 30, 40 years ago, because they're dealing with social issues,
Yes.
problems in the home and all of this, and they don't have time to do college planning.
They really don't. That goes to the back burner, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
I was asked to come to a meeting by the state of Michigan several years ago,
Okay.
and they wanted to get my opinion about how to put together a curriculum to provide college funding for parents.
Okay.
And when I went into their meeting, 20 minutes into it, they were scratching their heads and they said, Jeff, we're not trying to build the space shuttle here. Right. And what they were telling me was that the knowledge that I was providing was far too comprehensive than what they were prepared to send their counselors through. Just know it can't be done. It can't. We typically spend at least 10 to 20 hours with a family from start to the next step.
Okay.
So you're talking about 10 to 20 hours per parent, and if you got 300 seniors,
Wow.
you don't have the manpower for that,
No.
right? And the system is just not set up to address the issues that parents have. So let's get into this because we're running out of time. So when we look at page 3, it talks about, it says, now let's take a look at the impact on your family's wealth.
Okay.
Okay. And we're looking at the scenario between two students. So in the scenario 1, we can see the first year cost of college, which was a national average. And this case study is a little old, but that's
Okay.
okay. The principle of what we're teaching,
Gives us an idea.
right, is
Yeah.
still relevant. And then next to that, we see the 4-year cost. Now we are assuming that this student is not going to receive any money. Let's talk about that. Here's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 1% of entering freshmen are going to receive a full ride.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1% of the national average of entering college freshmen will receive a full ride.
We can't even factor that in
Right.
then because so few.
Right. So 99% of parents and families are going to have to pay.
Unbelievable.
And the majority of those families will see a gap in funding. Now, I'm going to give parents a little side note here.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are allowing our students to pick the school that they want,
Right?
which is oftentimes selected based on superficial reasons, it's
Yes.
feeding the problem of
Yes.
this huge
That's
bill
so true.
because the parents are allowing their children to make decisions that they're not prepared to make, and they're making because of the marching band. They're making because that's where their girlfriend is going to go.
Exactly.
That's where their cousin went, or some other, the sports team, or some other reason
Superficial.
that has nothing to do with selecting a
And may
best
not
fit
be the
school.
best choice. May
Right.
not be the best choice.
Right.
Wow.
So I can't tell you how many parents have called me and said, well, they selected College ABC. And it's obviously the school that provided the least amount of funding. So we got to work on that part.
Absolutely.
Okay? So let's keep going here. Let's keep going. So what we're looking at here, if we go over to the far right,
Mm-hmm.
we see the total cost of college when we include the loans that parents are taking out. This is getting into a very interesting conversation because this is not, parents are not looking at this. This is the reason why they're being blindsided by it.
Absolutely.
They're just caught up in the emotion of their child graduating from high school, especially if the child was an achiever. You know, the parent is really, this is it's an emotional period.
Yeah.
It's even to some degree for some parents, most of them, letting go of their child. They're dealing with that. I've talked to therapists on this issue and how families need to have some kind of family therapy because it is an emotional shift
True.
when you're letting go your child. You know, a lot of parents don't deal well with that. So they're dealing with all of these different feelings and emotions and issues and excitement and energy, and then they're supposed to make wise college funding decisions.
And they often don't because they don't even know how to think. Like what I find about talking with you is that you change the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like, I need to share you with everyone because if you think the right way, then you can make the right decisions. But if you're thinking in the wrong direction and no one is correcting you, no one is giving you a guide map, then you're probably not going to hit on the very best solution
Exactly.
that you're entitled to.
And you know who parents rely upon for
Ooh,
college funding
who
decisions?
do they rely upon?
Who do you think most parents rely on?
Like their financial advisor, if they have one? I don't know.
Their family and friends,
Oh, my goodness.
other parents.
But they also don't know.
So they're all on the same ship. The ship is going down.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going down fast.
Yes, it is.
And unfortunately, we're not providing factual case design success systems. We're sharing stories on what could be and what should happen, and they heard that, and it's amazing. It's
Absolutely.
amazing. So okay, so we go to the next slide here, and this is the one where we look at what we call opportunity cost.
Yes.
Okay, opportunity cost is a real number.
Hmm. We don't think it is, but it is.
It's a very real number. And again, parents are not thinking about what is going to be the financial impact on the quality of our lives for the next 30, 40, 50 years. Because the cost of college increases and its impact increases over time.
Oh my goodness.
That is a very real number. And the reason why it's called an opportunity cost is because you're using money for college that you desperately need for retirement.
Absolutely. And it's not really replaceable easily at that age. Like,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
it has huge repercussions. Look at the numbers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So so in the first example, we're showing how the parent is 45 years young, 20 years into retirement, and assuming that they're using 5% as the rate of return is lost on that money,
Mm-hmm.
the retirement loss is $571,920.
That's a huge number. My goodness.
And we're not even accounting for inflation.
Wow. My goodness.
So that's why this mom and dad, this superintendent of schools and principal, and just for the sake of those who are watching this, you don't know who I'm talking about. I have clients nationwide, so don't even try it.
Yeah.
But this is the reason why they're almost in tears. They go from this excitement about how great their children are doing and their grandchildren to we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to figure out, they have the same retirement system because they work in the same district. And they're trying to figure this thing out, and they can clearly see that they're going to take a pay cut. And also,
Mm-hmm.
these one of the spouses recently got a diagnosis of something.
Oh my goodness.
So
yes.
they're concerned about what will be the financial impact of that. So, but here's the point. Parents have to be thinking about what if scenarios when we allow our children to go to college. Because it's going to come back to haunt you if you do not pre-plan for it. I tell my clients, I said, let's talk about what if
Mm-hmm.
there's a loss of a job. Because I've heard all the stories, right?
Yeah.
Parent passes away, right? They got a divorce and the parent passes away. They got a divorce and one of the parents got sick. All these different variables, and all of them lead to the need for a certain level of financial security
Mm-hmm.
that they can't satisfy it because of the decisions that were made for funding education. And a lot of times that includes private school. We're overpaying for college, we're overpaying for private school, and we're not getting the kind of advice that deals with solving that problem while funding an education.
Right.
This is the reason why I have a philosophy that I teach. It's called never lose money. Because we're trying, we are looking at how do you position yourself to be able to fulfill your child's college dreams without putting yourself in financial risk.
Yep. That's
And to say that you have a
incredible.
529 plan or whatever you have, that doesn't, okay, so you have that, now what? What does this number, what is your opportunity cost number? So, okay, we look at the second picture, and this is including the loans.
This one here?
So we see that it's a $287,580 cost. Again, age 45 over 20 years at 5% interest. We see a deficit of $763,035. That is a real number. And we're not accounting for inflation. We're not accounting for any financial crisis that may come or life turns that may come. But this number is very important in helping us to understand how do we plan. We shouldn't be planning for college. We should be planning through college,
Through college.
not for college. Because planning for college blindsides parents to being prepared for who they're going to be when it's all over.
I'm going to play this slide. So this is your website?
Yeah, so if they would like to have a free report, they can go to $1,000,000collegestrategy.com and go to the EFC calculator, and they can get a copy of their analysis for their personal numbers and to give them some sense of what their opportunity cost is. And they can go to whoever they want to have the discussion about protecting themselves. They're more than welcome to call me.
Incredible. Incredible.
So, but we're saving parents' lives because we're looking at college funding from a holistic perspective. And again, less than 1% of entering freshmen are going to receive a full ride. And parents who are dependent upon, we have time to share quick, Vanessa? So,
like a minute. Well,
that's all
maybe less than a minute. Okay,
so
go ahead.
10 years ago, we went and got one of the most popular scholarship books.
Okay.
And we created Excel sheets based on categories that those scholarships fell into.
Wow.
And then, so when the family came to us, we gave them blocks of 50. So however many they wanted, 50 or 100, 150, whatever. And students began to apply for these scholarships.
Wow.
Hundreds of scholarships. Guess how much money was received?
I don't know.
0.
My God.
What we found is that the reason why there's categories of private money, right? There's your church who may have a scholarship fund. We're not talking about that money.
I think we'll have to continue our conversation. Would you be able to come back
Absolutely.
when you have time?
We can get into
this is such a great discussion.
Scholarship. But it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, no,
doesn't,
and there
for the
has to be a
masses.
better way.
Yeah, it doesn't
And I'm glad that you know, that you can help people in different situations. So happy. Thank you for making time to come and visit me
Thank
today.
you for allowing
so
me.
happy.
Thank you for allowing me.
You're really clear and you're very, absolutely easy to understand because it can be a very intimidating process. So thank you. Thank you so much for watching. And if you can join us again, we'll be happy to see you when we come back. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.